Let me just. So it's where a CEO. Well, I don't know if this is a true story or not. It's not true. It's not. I doubt it's true, but who knows? It could be. So it's where a CEO asked a teacher a kind of rude question, apparently, even though it's not rude, about her job. She responded eloquently. I wouldn't call it eloquently. I would call it, when those kids like get that smug look on their face after they say, "I'm gonna tell on you," like you stole one of their cookies. Then they get that smug look on their face. "I'm gonna tell on you, you piece of garbage." Well, yeah, that's what I would replace eloquently with. Alright, so let's get into this. I hate the little yeah happens every single video from Uplift posts. Like, all they do is just put subtitles and like that stupid and they put like the thumbnail in the background, just kind of over, like, behind everything else. So I'll let him speak a little.
The dinner guests were all sitting around the table discussing life.
So apparently there's like a CEO, a teacher, like a bunch of other random jobs. How did this happen? Like, that's a question that I've been asking ever since I saw this video, was why is there a CEO, a teacher, and like a bunch of other guests? Like, because it says dinner guest. That's why I don't think this is real, because it says dinner guests sitting around the table discussing life. Like, when will there ever be a situation where there's a CEO, a teacher, and like a bunch of other random guests, like, I have different jobs? I don't get it. It never says these are real, but it never says these are fake either, so.
One man, a CEO, decided to explain the problem with education. He argued, what's a kid going to learn from someone who decided his best option in life was to become a teacher?
Now, this is, like, it sounds mean, but really, you can understand where he's coming from, because, I mean, what's the point of being a teacher unless you want to teach? Like, those teachers that don't want to teach, they act like they hate kids. Like, I have a teacher who, she doesn't teach, she just puts on videos and stuff, and she's, like, just hates teaching us. I'm pretty sure she doesn't like us, like, at all. Like, she just lets videos teach for her, but, boy, oh boy, when her job's on the line, and whenever those people come in to, like, review her, and they tell her for some reason, I don't know why they tell them, then she puts on science experiments, she talks to us, she does all that stuff. But nope, when that's not happening, she's just like, oh, well, there's video, here's a video. And she just sits there playing and doing the little that computer thing. And when the video messes up, or like it buffers or something, she doesn't tell. She just keeps working on the computer. And our class just kind of let the video kind of just sit there without anything happening. Then, like, 20 seconds later, she kind of looked up at it. She was like, oh, look, it stopped working. And sometimes we even have to tell her, hey, dumb, it's not working. She's like, oh, she plays it again. Or, no, she doesn't even do it. She gets her teacher assistant to do it. Well, the teacher assistant doesn't do anything either except fix buffering videos. Like, alright, and the pay is really low. Apparently, it's what I've been hearing. I haven't really done any research into it. But apparently the pay is really low, but I don't know why they complain about it. You picked that job, but okay, let's
To stress his point, he asked to another guest, you're a teacher, Bonnie. Be honest, what do you make? Teacher Bonnie, who had a reputation for honesty and frankness, replied, you want to know what I make? She paused for a second, then began. Well,
you don't have to. Oh, jeez. You don't have to put this, like, she paused for a second, then began. You don't got it. This ain't a movie script. My bananas. This is a dang stinking video that you put on. You can just lose this. So that's just a little nitpick. That isn't really anything important. But next thing.
Well, I make kids work harder than they ever thought they.
No, you don't. The law does. And their parents do. You don't do jack crap. You just yell at them or get them to work harder. All the teachers do to make kids work harder is to say, I'm going to punish you if you don't do your work, which isn't a bad thing because you should make kids do their work and stuff. But when you put it into this context where you're saying, well, I make kids work harder than they ever thought they could. No, you don't. You make them. Yeah, you make. Not in a good way, like, oh, why are you bringing them through the adventures of education to become smarter? No. You just force them to, not make. It's, well, I force kids to work harder than they ever. This word should be forced. Force, not make. All right, let's do some more.
I make a C plus feel like the.
You shouldn't. This is bad. You should not make somebody feel like when they got a C plus, it's like the Medal of Honor. No, that's bad. That's me. Oh, I make kids work harder than they ever thought. I make kids think that a C plus is an A plus. I sure work hard. Like, that's not a good. You shouldn't make kids feel happy that they get like a C. What's an A plus? I mean, apparently, whenever they get a C plus, you're like, oh yes, that's very good of you. Yes, you got a C plus. Oh, very, very good. Oh. Your parents must be very excited. That's bad. You don't do that. It's not good. It's not a good thing to do. Okay, before I start repeating myself again, let's get through some more.
Medal of Honor winner. I make kids.
You force kids to sit through that. You don't do that. That law in the school does that. Well, not so much the law, but the school makes them sit through 40 minutes of class. You do not make kids sit through more 40 minutes of class. If you weren't there, and there was a robot doing it, it would be the same thing. Teachers, if nobody was there, just an empty chair, then you'd still have to sit there for 40 minutes. Nothing would change. Unless there was, let's just say that for the purpose of this, that there's no rule that says after like 5 minutes that you can leave, the teacher doesn't know. So, if there was no teacher there, they still have to stay for 40 minutes, so that doesn't make any sense. Why you would say that? Like, you don't do that. You don't have any effect in that. You can't control if they stay. If the school says they stay 5 minutes, they stay 5 minutes. You have no control if they stay 5 minutes. If they stay 40 minutes, that's the school's thing. That's the school's deal.
Sit through 40 minutes of class time when their parents can't make them sit for 5 minutes without an iPod, GameCube, or movie rental.
Like, again, the thing back time. You don't do this. The school does this. You're acting like the kids like it. Like, oh, they're invested in what they're learning. It'd be really, really helpful if they told you what grade you were teaching. Because, like, it'd be different in different grades. Like, kindergarten isn't really teaching. Like, you can't say, oh, I'm a great teacher because you're in kindergarten. Like, when you're a kindergarten teacher, it's like you're, like a babysitter. You're not a teacher anymore. You're a babysitter who occasionally teaches math. Very simple math. Most of the time, at least when I was in kindergarten, I was playing with blocks or watching movies or having actual fun. Oh, then they're throwing you in first grade. Oh boy, it just gets a whole lot tougher from there. But it would really help if you gave me something to tell what grade you are teaching. Because as of now, I have no idea, so you can't really say anything about that. But, like, a GameCube? I just noticed this. This video was made April 17th, 2017, and she's saying GameCube. GameCube. Okay. Alright, sure. GameCube. You sound like you know what you're talking about whenever you think everything's a GameCube. Oh, you see that Xbox GameCube. Oh, that Wii U GameCube. Alright.
Do you really want to know what I make? She paused again and looked at each and every person.
See, this just says that there's more than just those two people sitting at the dinner table. Like, what is this like a job meeting thing or something? I don't understand. Like, there's obviously more people because she looks at them. But who else would be? Why is there so many people that have totally different jobs? Or, I mean, is he the CEO of her? Or, no, it doesn't seem like that, but okay.
Sitting at the table. I make kids wonder.
No, you don't. Before kids go to school, they wonder. That's why kids are like, "Oh, hey, Mom, how was this made? Oh, how did that happen?" That's why they ask questions before they get into school. Once they get into school, you don't see them asking questions anymore. You see them asking, instead of saying, "Why does this happen?" They're just crying, "Why do I have to do that?" Because you give them hours of homework, so they can't, they get tired of wondering anymore, because they don't want to wonder, because if they wonder, they have work. You guys wonder, oh, why aren't these kids asking questions? Because they have no reason to, because when they do that, it just makes them work more. It's like whenever you're at your job, and you're, like, applying, if this is like if you were at a job and you're applying, but every time you ask a question about, like, oh, how is this going to happen, you just have more work hours. It's how school is. You ask a question, then they go on a 20-minute rant about it. Or you ask a question, they're like, oh, well, here's a page of homework for you. So I don't have to teach. Or some teachers, they just don't answer you. You're like, oh, you'll learn it on the video. I'll play you. So you don't make kids wonder. Kids make themselves wonder by saying things that they actually wonder about. Like, you want to know why there are idiots in the world that actually go to school when they were kids? Because they don't care. Because you don't make them wonder. You don't make them want to learn. You make them not want to learn. And then you're asking yourself, why do these kids not want to learn? Because you don't make it fun. And when you think what you think is fun is actually just demanding. And so some things are out of your control, like the homework. That's out of the teacher's control. But still, you should take that into account when kids are like, oh, I don't really want to ask questions because that'll just make you go on a 40-minute rant about it. And then you guys wonder, I don't know. Okay, so sometimes when people don't ask questions, some teachers are like, oh, you guys should ask more questions. Then when we do ask questions, and when we go on like a 40-minute rant, then she's like, just be quiet. We only got like 20 minutes of class time left. But then everybody's just thinking, you wanted us to ask questions. And she's like, no more questions. I'm like, okay, it's kind of you can't win with these teachers. Like, it's impossible, and it's impossible to win.
I make them question.
No. I already answered this first. Go back to the last one.
I make them apologize and mean it.
They mean it, because if they don't mean it, you'll say mean it, and then they mean it, and then you say mean it. And then they get in trouble. So they make themselves mean it, because if they don't, they'll get in trouble. It's like going at prison and then saying, hey, guys, don't fight. And then you wonder why they don't fight, because you told them to, and they'll get in trouble. Like, they aren't doing these things because you want them. Like, they say questions because you make them say questions. They do these things because you say they do these things. You aren't making them. I mean, you're forcing them. Yeah, you aren't making them in the good way. You're forcing them. It's like you're taking a metaphorical whip and whipping them every time they don't do something. I'm going to get copyrighted strike by these people. I know it. All right.
I make them have respect and take responsibility for their actions.
Because they probably have Vietnam flashbacks back to the school times where whenever they didn't take respect or didn't take responsibility, you acted like they killed somebody. And you're like, oh, dear Lord, you didn't say yes, ma'am, for one time for this entire day? I'm going to go on a 5-minute lecture why you should respect your elders, even though there's no reason to, and I just met you, and you haven't earned any of my respect. That's another thing I don't like about teachers. They wonder, oh, why aren't these kids respecting me? Well, besides you being my teacher, you are a stranger. Like spending a year with you isn't good, because I only see you 5 days a week, and you don't talk to me like a human being. You talk to me something like paperwork. You wonder why. Oh, why don't these kids say yes, ma'am, and stuff like that? Because you haven't earned respect, teachers. Like, I'm tired of the teachers saying, oh, you should respect me because I'm teachers, or other people saying you should respect them because they're teachers. Because they teach a bunch of kids. And I'm like, oh, well, good for them. I mean, they shouldn't be respected for that because, I mean, that's what they chose to do. I mean, they're acting like it's so hard and, like, they wish they, like, oh, it's so hard and stuff. Oh, now I'm just sitting there. Like, well, you chose to do it. It's not my fault. Like, it's like saying that there's a criminal. I'm sorry for all the metaphors today. It's just I don't know why I'm using so many metaphors, but it's like criminal saying it's hard to be a criminal. So why was he a criminal? Like, that's what teachers are doing. Like, it's hard to teach. But then then when they're all young, they're like, oh, I'm gonna go spend 6 years getting a degree for teaching. Added years if you want to do honors. And then they're like, oh, well, I don't like teaching anymore. But then you're so old at that point that you can't go back to college, or you'll be too old to actually do a job. So, I mean, they back themselves into a corner. And then if they could actually, and if they're young enough, then they just repress themselves and thinking, well, I spent 6 years for this. Probably more. Just because I wanted to teach kids because I was like, oh, I'll make kids so happy. And then they learn that they force them to do everything and they don't actually care about them. Let's get to the rest of the video. I'm going to start repeating myself.
I teach them how to write, and then I make them write.
Make them. Like, this is the key. Replace make with all these, because make could mean force, but most of the time you want it to mean make by, like, saying, like, it's not like I force them to. It's like I make them by, like, helping them and making them want to do it. Like, you should make them want to do it, not force them to do it. Because if you force them to do it, they'll get tired of it and they won't have to do it. And you could ruin potential things that they want to do in life because you do it so boringly and stale, like you're talking to paperwork in class. It's just and keyboarding isn't everything. Well, I don't know what you're doing with your life, but pretty much keyboard is a lot of things. I mean, there's so many more, like, pros to typing with keyboards than there is to writing. You're just stuck in the past on that one. Or maybe that's just me, probably. That's just our young teenager attitudes kicking in. Oh, that's just our little kids, and we're not in the past. Oh, you're these little kids on your computers all day. Oh, them hurt their eyes. You're just stuck in the past on the keyboard thing.
Keyboarding isn't everything. I make them read.
And force them to read. Like, you gotta read a book a week or you'll go to detention. That's happened before. That's a thing that happens. That's not good because you're not making them want to read. You're forcing them to read.
Read. Show all their work in math. They use their God-given brain, not the man-made calculator.
Alright, so for this one, like, I don't really have a problem with it. It just kind of feels like this one's fine. I don't have a problem with this. This is okay. I mean, the calculator is just kind of, I would rather use it. It's just more, I mean, I can do math, but
I make my students from other countries learn everything they need to know about English.
What kind of teacher are you? Alright, like I would really wish to know so I could actually do a video like this and have some background information. But unless it's in the description, which I haven't looked at, but they shouldn't put that in the description. Just put it in the dang video. But I really want to know what kind of teacher you are. Like, whatever. Like, if you're a math teacher, like, what grade are you? Like, you teach one subject. Like, there's not a math teacher that teaches language, like, actual languages to kids. Like, I don't, whatever.
While preserving their unique cultural identity. I make my class
place where all students feel well. Oh, I was using VLC thing, but it kept crashing with this video, so now I'm using YouTube. I know it looks really unprofessional, but or whatever. Yeah, it works at least. So I mean, hope you guys don't. I mean, with other videos, I hope it works with VLC, but whatever. Where all my students feel safe and secure. Nope, you sanitize everything. You keep everything bad out of everywhere. You don't let students joke around with each other, because if they're friends and they say something bad about each other, like, oh, I saw poop and it reminded me of you. Nope, that's illegal. You can't do that. That's impossible. That's not a good thing to do. Oh, no, no, no. Friends? Oh, you said you're friend. Nope, still not good. No, you just sanitize everything. Make everything seem like a great little place where nobody can make kind of rude jokes to each other and everybody laughs. Like, if everybody laughs, still bad. Good, not good. Because apparently they're crying on the inside of
From
you.
a place where all my students feel safe and secure. Finally, I make them understand that if they use the gifts they were given, work hard, and follow their hearts, they can succeed in life.
How? Like, I've never seen this happen. I've never seen a teacher say, "Oh, if you follow your gift," without just saying it as some speechy, like, just so they can be said that they're such a good. No, unless it was for self gain. I've never heard a teacher say, "Oh, if you follow your heart and lead your dreams, you can do anything." No, it's not what they said. I've never heard a teacher say that. Only in the movies. Only in the movies.
Bonnie paused one last time and then
Stop pausing. I'm not talking to myself. I'm talking to the thing. Some comments gonna be like, "Oh, I thought you were talking to yourself." So I don't stop saying the pause thing. It doesn't do anything except just ruin the mood that you were the little mood that you were setting anyway.
Then, when people try to judge me by what I make, I can hold my head up high and pay no attention because they are so ignorant.
You are a horrible person. I would not want to be around with you.
Oh, well, I just make so much, I just do so much that if somebody says something about me, they're ignorant, and I like, it just makes you sound like so stinking,
Like a little fragile little snowflake when you say that.
oh, well, if somebody says something bad about me, I can be like, oh, you're so ignorant, oh.
Like what you said, the school does. Every single thing you said. Pretty much everything. I don't like maybe one thing that. Yeah, I think one thing I agreed with you with. The school probably makes you do that too. Most of the things you said. Every single one except one. The school makes you do. You don't make people stay in class. The school does.
You want to know what I make? I make a difference in all your lives, educating your kids and preparing them to become CEOs and doctors and engineers. What do you make, Mr. CEO?
Money! Money! Money.
His jaw dropped and he went silent.
No, you wouldn't though. Everything she said can just be broken down into the school does that, the law does that, the school does that, and the law does that. The law makes people go to school. You do not make people go to school. The school makes people stay in the classrooms. You do not make people stay in the classrooms. You don't make kids want to wonder. Kids make themselves want to wonder. You don't make them do anything. You either force them to, or the school and law forces them to.
Don't educate your children to be rich. Educate them to be happy so they know the value of things, not the price.
Value and price are the same meaning. Oh, yeah, they are the same meaning. If you look it up, it's pretty much the same.
I make a difference in all your lives, educating your kids and preparing them to become CEOs and doctors.
I'm making a 5-minute lesson plan on your classroom. Unless I'm getting unless I get a 7-day ahead warning that I'm going to get evaluated, then I'm like, oh, I better spend 5 hours on this lesson plan, because that's what they do. They make just science experiments and stay after school. Other times they spend like 10 to 30 minutes in their lesson plan. But nope. What do you make, Mr. CEO?
Engineers.
Money.
What do you make, Mr. CEO? His jaw dropped and he went silent.
Every time, all I think about this is that guy in that one movie. He's just like, money. I forgot what he's also off of. I need to find it. Just, money. Money. It's my favorite thing ever. I'm talking about the video anymore, but that's all I think about.
Don't educate your children to be rich.
So, you don't want them to be rich? What if I want them to be rich and happy? I mean, I'd be pretty happy if I was rich, to be honest. I mean, they say money can't bring happiness, but I mean, not for me. If I could buy a VR, oh boy, I'd be pretty happy.
Educate them to be happy so they know the value of things, not the price.
Same meaning. Clap, 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 clap. Clap underscore sound effect underscore dot mp4. Hey guys, you should share a video to other teachers that agree with this. None of them, because teachers stalk kids on the internet. Like, one of the students in the class, my class, we are allowed to bring out our phones. She took a picture and posted it on Instagram. I think, like a day later, the teacher that was in there, she was like, "I found your picture on Instagram." I'm just like, oh boy, and she was like, you were looking at that stuff, and she just smiled and nodded her head, like, mm-hmm. Same teacher that doesn't like to teach and just puts videos on. Let's listen to some more clapping sound effects. Oh shit, it's piano. The piano is basically the same thing as a clap. Also, they use the same piano every single time. It gets a little annoying. Just a little bit. And that is it for all little CEO asked the teacher a kinda rude question. Kinda rude. That's pretty good. So that was my little response to this video. This was like a 3-minute video on it and a 2-minute 35 video. And I made it like 20 minutes long, so hope you guys enjoyed this little rant ski-doodle on this. This is just so I have a video to put out tonight, because I don't want to edit anything and take hours like I did the last video, so I hope you don't mind me doing this, because, like, I really don't want to spend a couple hours editing, because I've been trying to do it, but I haven't found a game I like, and don't want to do Guards and Thieves again, so I just hope you don't mind me doing this kind of video. So, hope you guys enjoyed. Comment, subscribe if you liked it. Have a good day. Bye-bye.